Hello and welcome to the Diaries. My name is Jen and I am a knitting enthusiast, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about all of my knitting projects and plans with a focus on using my stash. So I was not recording last weekend because I mentioned before that I was going to be helping out with our fire camp for work, and it was exhausting. And when I got home last weekend, I didn't really feel like doing much of anything other than, like taking the dog for her walks and that kind of thing, tidying up the house. But and I didn't actually knit on much while I was away during that week because, like I said, it was just tiring every day. And it was one of those situations where I'd be like knitting in bed at the end of the day and I would be falling asleep with the needles in my hands. So I didn't have much to talk about last week. But anyway, yeah, it was quite the week. It was fun, but it was tiring. I would definitely do it again, though. I did it. That was my second year helping out with it. So I ended up with sunburn and, like a friggin' blister on my lip and stuff. My skin is kind of angry at me right now. So we're trying to work things out, but it's just taking some time. Anyway, you will not have any interruptions from my sweet little animals this week because they are at their grandparents again, because I have to go away for work again tomorrow. So for a couple of days. So it is super quiet in the house. I keep thinking that I hear them, but I'm not. Maybe there's actually a ghost in here that I'm not aware of because I've always had animals around and just assume the ghost noises were animal noises. But anyway, it's possible. So let's get into it. I do have acquisitions this week. I mentioned that I was running out of yarn for my fire season blanket, so I made an order to Deanne Fitzpatrick Studio to get more of the colorway that I needed. And here is what I bought. Well, I bought two more because I like to average out my shipping, if you know what I mean. Like, instead of paying $15 shipping for two skeins and it's like $7, yeah, $7.50 each, I work it out to be, well, if I get 4 skeins, then it's like, what, $3.75 each? Is my math right? I can't do math like just like that anymore. I used to, but it's not a thing now. But you get my drift of what I'm talking about. So I got 2 more skeins. There are a pair of mitts. The pattern is with Sisterhood Fibers. It is like the saltwater mittens, except it's trees. And so I got these 2 colors to do that. And this one, the lighter one, is wild linen. And this one, the green, is Brunswick fir. So I got those to try to make the shipping less painful. I can just throw things on the futon because there's no piper there. And then this is the color that I needed to get more of. It is Northern Sky. So really pretty light blue. We're going to have to talk about this a little more later on for reasons. But I have a couple of finished objects to talk about, and so I will get into that now. And here's the first one. This is the Kitteh blanket, Kitteh, by, I think it's, yep, Ann Thomsen. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I did a little stash dive to knit this. 3 of the yarns were leftovers from sweaters. The only one that wasn't was this Knit Picks Chroma Worsted that you can see in the color changes on this side. The color changes on this side, you can't see them as well as with the Chroma Worsted, but that is Cascade Wave that I had left over from a sweater for my niece. There's Estelle worsted in here, held with that Cascade Wave that was leftovers from a sweater for my niece. And then on this side, it's Cascade 220 in the, I think it's lilac colorway. Lilac or lavender, I always get them mixed up. And that was left over from a sweater for me. And then the Knit Picks Chroma was just sitting in my stash for a long time. And I initially had a project in mind for it. And then I ended up changing my mind, so it was just there with no purpose, so I gave it one. So I knit this for my cats to kind of pretty up the old cat bed that my cat Frodo used to sleep in, and then Tucker, well, Tucker, it was mostly Frodo, but Tucker did sleep in it from time to time, but Tucker was a mama's boy, and he liked to hang out with me, so he was like usually in my lap or near me or whatever. He was the sweetest cat. A bit needy, but super sweet. Anyway, so this is to make that old bed prettier instead of buying a new bed. So I'm in my mend and make do era, which I think many of us are. So I wove in the ends, but I have not cut them yet because I have not soaked this yet. And I'm going to do that right after this. So I haven't exactly been around to do it. I just got back from my parents again. Well, like I said, I had to drop my animals off, but I was there for going to the theater and going to supper. So yeah, I haven't been home much. Okay, my next finished object is part of the hashtag Saltwater Stash Down, and it is from Saltwater Classics, and it is the moose cap. And there it is. I knitted out of Briggs & Little Heritage in light brown, khaki, bleached white, and brown. And it's a hat I was knitting for myself. So this is what happened though. I had this light brown in my stash, left over from socks, I think, that I knit in like kind of a khaki or a camouflage kind of color story. And I ran out, but I had already purchased some more light brown, but at a different store. And the color, the dye lots just didn't quite match up. Do you see that? The original one is a little more of a taupey brown, and the one at the very top, the newer one, has like warmer undertones. So yeah, dye lot kind of matters. Like I've always had to kind of deal with it with things like Malabrigo, but I've never had this happen. But I'm okay with it because it's for me. It's not a gift. If it was a gift, I would probably reknit it out of all this one here because I had 2 skeins of that. So yeah, since it's just mine, and it matches my sweater. So since it's mine, I'm not too worried about it. So yeah. Oh, I was going to show you what I did with my saltwater stash down list. That is, I made one with all the rounds broken down. And is it not in this book? Nope, it's in this book. So what I did is I broke them down. The first pattern in each book in round 1, second in round 2, round 3 and 4, and so on. But what's interesting is that as the books go on, there's more patterns in each book. So I'm going to have like wildcard sections. I will anyway, because I'm not knitting all of these patterns. If they have baubles that I can't, if I just don't want to knit something, I'm not going to. You know what I mean? There's a pair of gloves in here I don't want to knit. There's a scarf I don't want to knit, or I might not even have the yarn for. So there will be wildcard sections, but when you get to round, so the first book had 15 patterns. Okay, yeah, I'm on the right spot. Had 15 patterns, so there's round 15. And when you get to round 16, blank space. And then when you get to round, oh, I put 19 in there twice. Huh. Anyway, so this says round 20, but it's really round 21. There's 2 blank spaces because Saltwater Classics is short one, and then round 22, which is actually 23. Saltwater Gifts is short one, and Saltwater Stocks is the only one that has 23 patterns. So there'll be some wild cards. What I'm going to do is go just pick another pattern out of that book. You're probably saying, Jennifer, why don't you just knit that round with the one pattern? I don't want to. I just want to use up my yarn, and mostly I want to play with colors. So that is that. That is how that's going. Now, let's discuss my fire season blanket and look at that lovely blue color that I ordered. So I've been working on this. I added the new yarn. And yeah, dye-a-lot doesn't match up. So that's a thing, very important. And it's so different that I thought I ordered the wrong color, because there's two light blues in DM Fitzpatrick's collection of exclusive colorways from Briggs & Little. There's one called Northern Sky, which is the one I'm using. And then there's one called Nova Sky that is like a little bit darker, but I think it's like even a bit darker than this one. So I went on, like the tag from this one was gone. So I went into my yarn stash on Ravelry, and you can still see the tag in the picture. And it does say Northern Sky. So I didn't mix that up. So it's just a dye-a-lot situation. And again, this is mine. It's not a gift. It's changing colors anyway, so I'm just going to deal with it. But here's the thing, I really like this color more. So I'm like, why couldn't my original skein look like that? Because that's, like, this color is like so me right now. Like, I'd paint all the walls in my house that color. But them's the breaks. Dye-a-lot's important. I've never experienced that issue like this before. Okay. Well, it was kind of out of my control, man. Like, I'm kind of wishy-washy with what I'm knitting out of the Briggs & Little, so it is what it is. If it was a gift, I would have ripped back to here and then started this color down here, so that, like, just even like this stripe change would kind of mask the difference in it. But since it's just mine and it's probably going to go in the car or something, I don't care. So yeah, so that's what happened there. And yeah, if you haven't heard about what I'm doing with my fire season blanket, it's basically like a temperature blanket, except with the fire weather index instead of temperature. So I'm picking the highest fire weather index for Cape Breton in, yeah, each day. And they get 4 rows each day, because fire season isn't the whole year. So the blanket wouldn't be long enough if I only did like 1 row or 2 rows a day. So I go back and forth twice for each day. I am a little bit behind. There was some moderate fire weather. So there's going to be a little bit of green coming up soon. But as you can see, it has mostly been 0 or low so far. So yeah, what's the pattern? It is the garter chevron blanket, another free pattern on Ravelry. And it is by Catherine Anderson. So that is that one. I do love a good chevron. There will probably be more chevron in my future. I would love a chevron sweater. Gudrun Johnson does a really nice one. Might look into that sometime. But anyway, so that's my fire season blanket. So I've made some progress on my Winter Shawl sweater by Jennifer Steingass. It is split for the sleeves. So I'm pretty happy with that, getting that far. I had the decision to make on whether or not I think I have a few rows more to do before I have to make this decision, but I think the decision has been made whether to do shaping or not. And I've gone with not, because I like my things boxy at this moment in time. So we're going straight down, because this is not really a fashion top. This is more of a layering, keep me warm while I'm shoveling snow type top sweater, Lopi. So, and it is knit out of Let Lopi. And I can't remember the colorways right now, but this will be here next week, so I'll say them then. Or you can go to a past video. have a look. But yeah, it's just Let Lopey. Like I said, Jennifer Steingass. I've started doing travel knitting shorts, so what I've brought with me to my parents' house or other travel knitting. I wish I did it during fire camp. There would have been a big contrast to what I brought to fire camp versus what I just brought to my parents' house. It would have been kind of funny, but I had this at my parents' house, so it was in the short, and I worked on it a fair bit. I did split for the sleeves while I was there. I wanted to get that done. That was the big thing for me. So now I can just knit the body, and it's just lovely and wonderful. And the only thing is that my hands do get tired knitting this. So I can't spend like an entire movie knitting on it, I don't find. I have to switch to something else. Gotta protect my hands. So I'm gonna keep working on this weekly, making sure I'm working on it weekly because it's the year of the garment and I'm supposed to be working on a garment every week. And I want to get into some other ones. I have a vest I want to knit for my mother. I think I'm going to cast that on regardless of whether this is finished or not. And then there's a t-shirt by Tanis Lavallee that I want to knit that I have the yarn for. It was one of those things where I'm like looking at my different yarns, and before I was seeing them as shawls, but these ones I can put together as a t-shirt. So I'm going to do that instead, because if you've seen my shawls, they're taking over my closet. So I have to like give some love to some garments. So that'll get lots of use out of. And next, okay, in the same bag, and as part of my saltwater stash down, this is the Turnback cap, and this is from, oh, I bent that, so that's a very big glare there. There we go, Saltwater Gifts. It's very glary. There we go. So this is the second pattern in that book, and when I'm finished this, I will be done round 2. And I'm using Briggs & Little Heritage, and I had to check the colorway. It is Quaddy Blue, or Coddy Blue, Q-U-O-Q-U-Q-U-O-D-D-Y. So there it is. So it has this seed stitch kind of brim to it that you flip up, and then as you knit it, there's like seed stitch panels. I am going to continue working on this evening, I think, and maybe I can finish it this evening. I have some things I got to clean up before I go away tomorrow, and I also have to pack, so I don't know how much knitting time I'm going to get this evening, but I will try. So that is that one. Almost done with round 2 of Saltwater Stash Down, and I'm already like looking, as I finish them, I have these like wine glass paper clips. I don't know if you can see that in the top right there. So when I finish a pattern, I move the paper clip to the next pattern. So I've already been looking at the round 3 patterns from the other books, and I'm excited to do some color play because I'm getting back into mittens again. Anyway, all right, so I mentioned that I was working on socks at fire camp. Well, trying to. I will show this one first because it's a little bit sad. I knitted a cuff. So I was trying to knit these in tandem. So knit a cuff and then the other cuff on the other sock, and then knit the leg and then the leg on the other sock. But I ended up turning the heel on this one. Reason being is that this one is a vanilla sock, and I needed something to knit on at the theater while we waited for the show to start, and then at supper on Friday while waiting for our food to come. And I like vanilla socks for that. So I turned the heel to get that out of the way, and yeah, picked up for the gusset and everything so that I could work on this without having to look at it too much. Because this one is just a vanilla sock. This is opal yarn. I'm not sure about the colorway because the label was gone. And this one is going to be Heel Toe Do Si Do by Kay, Crazy Sock Lady. And it's going to be knit with this Knit Picks Felici yarn in the teacup colorway. I've had this in my stash for quite a bit. But both of these socks are going to be a gift. So there is that. Oh, and this is Knit Picks Stroll. And I think the colorway is like strawberry or something. Not sure. But anyway. So those are what I cast on at fire camp. This is all I knit on this one there. I haven't worked on it since I got back. And this one, I had only knit like that much. That would have been all I would have had to show you last week. Oh, and did I have the finished objects done then? I at least had the kitty blanket, so I would have had like 3 projects to show you. So yeah, it really didn't make sense to record last week. Whoops. So those are my socks that I'm working on. At least one of them will probably come with me tomorrow. And because I lack impulse control, and I mentioned to you last time that my theme of this month is knitting my 2023 stash, I wanted to cast on something with 2023 stash. So I did. This yarn has just been making my heart sing ever since I saw it at Tracy's Rolling Yarn Shop last May. I bought it on a retail therapy trip to her shop because I was having a rough go, and sometimes, you know, you need to do that. But this is Wool and Wanderlust in their Magical Murney base, and the colorway is Little Lotus, and it is just so soft. And what am I knitting with it, you might ask? This is the Cranberry Fizz Shawl by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. And it was part of her knit vent last December, November, December. And it is just like a stockinette nylet shawl, but it has beads. Can you see? I don't know if you can see the little bead there and there and there. See if they go shiny. I don't know. I just used I used what I had on hand. I just wanted a little bit of bead, you know? So these are the ones that I had in stash. I cannot remember what I purchased these for. I have some more there that I do remember what I purchased them for. Some blue ones for my Even Star that I haven't picked up in probably over a year. But yeah, that's just that. I'm glad to be using something else that's from my stash, but look at this colorway. I just love it. And it's just been like kind of nice and meditative to knit. I had to try to remember how I had put beads on before. I have done beading before a little bit with my knitting, but it had been a bit. So I use the dental floss method. So yeah, and that is that. So I don't know what else is going to come with me tomorrow. I have to think about it because there's another shawl, Mosaic Musings, that I haven't shown any love this past week. So I might do that. Oh man, today's Scrappy Sunday and I haven't given Scrappy projects love recently. Maybe I'll knit on that tonight instead of the hat. Yep. I'm thinking that. So that is all I have to share today. I'm going to have footage at the end of me and Piper. Well, I'm not in it. It's, you know, Piper at Ishkaban Falls. We went for a little hike last weekend to kind of decompress a little bit after I was away for the whole week on her. But anyway, I will see you next week. I am going to take a double long weekend to try to catch up on housework and stuff because this month has just been kicking my arse. So yeah, so I will see you next week, hopefully with some interesting stuff. Oh, a trip to Tracy's Rolling Yarn Shop. That is going to happen. So I will have probably one acquisition. And yeah, until then, take care. Bye.